Your soulmate's name starts with this letter, and don't scroll past this, stay right here, because what's about to unfold isn't about guessing names or playing games, it's about recognition, the kind that hits you quietly in the chest before your mind even catches up. This message didn't find you by accident, and the letter you're about to feel drawn toward isn't random either. It's connected to energy, memory, and timing, not coincidence. Your soulmate's presence has already brushed against your life, even if you haven't fully realized it yet, and this is about helping you notice what's been whispering in the background all along. Listen carefully, because this doesn't start with a letter appearing in your mind out of nowhere. It starts with a feeling. A pause. A moment where certain names, certain initials, certain sounds feel heavier than others. You might have noticed this before. A name that keeps resurfacing in unrelated moments. A letter that catches your eye repeatedly. A subtle reaction in your body when you hear it spoken. That's not imagination. That's resonance. Stay right here, because your soulmate's name doesn't matter because of how it looks on paper, it matters because of the frequency it carries for you. Names hold vibration. They hold memory. They hold intention. And long before two people meet fully, their energies begin recognizing each other in small, almost invisible ways. Don't skip this part, because many people mistake intuition for fantasy. They tell themselves they're reading too much into things, that patterns are meaningless, that signs are coincidences. But intuition doesn't shout. It repeats. And if a specific letter keeps appearing in your awareness, it's because your subconscious has already picked up on something your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. Listen closely, because this soulmate energy didn't suddenly decide to connect with you today. It's been weaving itself into your experiences quietly. Through conversations that felt unexpectedly meaningful. Through people who reminded you of something you couldn't name. Through moments where you felt a pull without a reason. The letter is simply a symbol, a way for your awareness to anchor to what your soul already knows. Stay right here, because the letter itself may feel obvious to some of you and confusing to others. That's okay. This isn't about forcing clarity. It's about allowing recognition. Some of you already know the letter the moment you heard this title. Others will feel it later, when you're not trying, when your mind is relaxed and your intuition is louder. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate's name starting with this letter doesn't mean you're supposed to obsess or search through every name you know. It means pay attention. Pay attention to how you feel around people whose names begin with that letter. Pay attention to the energy exchange. Pay attention to whether you feel seen, grounded, and calm rather than anxious or confused. Listen carefully, because soulmate connections don't start with intensity. They start with familiarity. A sense of knowing. A comfort that doesn't need to be earned. If someone with this letter in their name feels oddly familiar even when you don't know them well, that's worth noticing. Stay right here, because timing matters. This message is arriving when you're ready to stop chasing and start recognizing. Ready to stop forcing meaning and start allowing it to reveal itself. You're not being asked to decide anything today. You're being asked to observe. Don't skip this, because your soulmate's name starting with this letter is not a promise of instant union. It's a confirmation of alignment. A nudge that says, you're closer than you think, even if it doesn't look the way you expected. Listen closely, because some of you may feel resistance. You might think, but that person isn't available, or the timing doesn't make sense, or we've never talked like that. Resistance doesn't mean the message is wrong. It means there's fear around what recognition might change. And fear often shows up right before clarity. Stay right here, because this connection isn't about fantasy or escape. It's about growth. Soulmates don't always arrive to make life easier. They arrive to make it more honest. They reflect parts of you that are ready to be seen, healed, and expressed. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. The letter is a doorway, not a destination. It's something for your awareness to hold while life continues unfolding naturally. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to test it. You don't need to tell anyone. Let it sit quietly and see what surfaces. Listen carefully, because the strongest soulmate connections often begin long before romance. They begin with understanding. With shared values. With conversations that feel real instead of performative. With silence that feels comfortable instead of awkward. If someone connected to this letter offers that energy, notice it. Stay right here, because this message is also reminding you of something important. You don't need to chase love. Love recognizes you when you're aligned with yourself. And you've been doing that inner work, even if it hasn't been easy. Don't skip this part, because your soulmate's name starting with this letter isn't meant to limit you. It's meant to focus you. To help you stop scattering your energy in every direction and start noticing what feels grounded and mutual. Listen closely, because you may already have crossed paths with this person. Or you may be about to. Either way, this awareness is meant to prepare you, not pressure you. Preparation looks like openness, not expectation. Stay right here, because when the right connection appears, it won't need convincing. It will feel steady. It will feel clear. It will feel like you can be yourself without performing. And that feeling will matter more than any letter ever could. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You're not late. You're not behind. You're not missing anything meant for you. This message is a sign that things are aligning beneath the surface, even if nothing has changed outwardly yet. Listen carefully, because recognition often comes before understanding. You may feel drawn before you know why. That's okay. Let the why come later. Stay right here, because this isn't about prediction. It's about awareness. Awareness of how your intuition speaks to you. Awareness of how connection feels when it's real. Awareness of what no longer confuses you. Don't skip this, because your soulmate's energy doesn't arrive with chaos. It arrives with clarity. And clarity feels calm, not overwhelming. Listen closely, because the letter will make sense when you stop trying to force it to. When you relax. When you're present. When you trust yourself. Stay right here, because this is not the end of the message. It's the beginning of noticing. And noticing changes everything. And if this resonated with you, take a moment to like this, share it with someone who believes in intuitive signs, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And stay till the end of this journey, because when recognition begins quietly, the connection that follows is often the most real. Don't scroll, stay right here, because now the awareness you felt earlier begins to deepen, and what once felt like a soft hint starts to take shape through understanding rather than curiosity. After that first moment of recognition, something subtle begins to happen inside you. You're no longer trying to figure anything out. You're simply noticing. Noticing how certain energies feel closer than others. Noticing how your attention naturally lingers without effort. Noticing how your body reacts before your thoughts catch up. This is where intuition moves from whisper to presence. Listen carefully, because once recognition begins, life starts responding in quiet ways. You may notice that people connected to that letter seem to cross your path more often, or conversations unexpectedly turn in directions that feel meaningful. Not dramatic, not obvious, but aligned. Alignment doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself slowly, through patterns that don't need explanation to be felt. Stay right here, because what's important now isn't the letter itself, but what it awakened in you. Awareness sharpens. You start realizing how often you used to overlook what felt calm because you were trained to chase what felt intense. You start questioning why peace once felt boring and confusion felt exciting. This message arrives to correct that pattern gently, without judgment. Don't skip this, because soulmate energy doesn't demand attention. It invites it. And when you begin responding to that invitation, your inner world starts rearranging itself. You become more selective without becoming closed. More observant without becoming suspicious. More open without being unprotected. That balance is rare, and it's forming inside you now. Listen closely, because you may notice that your emotional reactions are changing. Things that once pulled you off center don't have the same grip. You're not as reactive. You're not as desperate for clarity. That's because clarity is no longer something you're chasing externally. It's emerging internally. And internal clarity always comes first. Stay right here, because the letter you felt drawn to acts like a mirror. It reflects what you're ready for now, not what you were ready for before. It reflects growth. It reflects maturity. It reflects the version of you that no longer wants to repeat old cycles disguised as chemistry. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. There's also something important happening in how you relate to uncertainty. You're learning that not knowing everything doesn't mean something is missing. Sometimes it means something is forming. And formation requires space, patience, and trust. Listen carefully, because trust is becoming a theme now. Trust in your timing. Trust in your intuition. Trust that what's meant for you doesn't need to be hunted down or decoded obsessively. It will feel natural. It will feel mutual. It will feel like recognition, not pursuit. Stay right here, because this awareness also brings discernment. You're starting to feel when something isn't aligned without needing reasons. You don't argue with your intuition as much. You don't override your inner no to keep others comfortable. That shift matters more than any external sign. Don't skip this part, because discernment doesn't isolate you. It protects you. It helps you invest your energy where it can grow instead of where it gets drained. And that protection isn't fear-based. It's self-respect. Listen closely, because you may find yourself thinking less about what you want and more about how you want to feel. Safe. Seen. Calm. Understood. These feelings are now your compass. And the letter that stood out to you aligns with that compass, not against it. Stay right here, because the message is also reminding you to release urgency. Urgency used to feel like passion, but now you recognize it as anxiety in disguise. What's meant to meet you doesn't require haste. It meets you when you're present enough to receive it. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may notice synchronicities continuing, but they no longer excite you the way they once did. They reassure you instead. That's growth. You're not looking for proof anymore. You're recognizing confirmation. Listen carefully, because confirmation doesn't scream. It nods. It feels like a quiet yes in your body. A sense of ease. A lack of resistance. You're learning to trust that feeling instead of questioning it. Stay right here, because you're also becoming more comfortable with letting things unfold without control. You're not forcing conversations. You're not trying to steer outcomes. You're allowing people to show you who they are. That allowance is powerful. Don't skip this, because when you stop controlling, you start observing clearly. And observation reveals truth faster than effort ever could. Listen closely, because the soulmate energy connected to this letter isn't something you need to chase. It's something that will recognize you when alignment is mutual. Recognition works both ways. It's not one-sided longing. It's shared awareness. Stay right here, because the message now is about embodiment. You're not meant to sit and wait. You're meant to live fully as you are now. When you do that, the right connections don't feel like interruptions. They feel like additions. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may notice that you're less tolerant of emotional confusion. Less willing to decode mixed signals. Less interested in potential without consistency. That's not you becoming rigid. That's you becoming clear. Listen carefully, because clarity attracts clarity. When you know what you're available for and what you're not, life responds accordingly. And that response often comes quietly, through people and situations that feel familiar without being painful. Stay right here, because the letter is no longer something you're thinking about consciously. It's something that sits in the background as a reference point, a reminder to pay attention to how things feel rather than how they look. Don't skip this part, because this phase is also about patience with yourself. You don't need to rush understanding. You don't need to force meaning. Let things reveal themselves in their own time. That trust is part of alignment. Listen closely, because you may find that your dreams feel more vivid, your intuition sharper, your emotional boundaries clearer. That's not coincidence. It's the result of listening instead of dismissing. Stay right here, because this message isn't about prediction. It's about preparation. Preparation to recognize love when it arrives without confusion. Preparation to receive without fear. Preparation to stay grounded when things feel real. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You're not meant to shrink to be chosen. You're meant to be yourself fully and allow recognition to meet you there. Listen carefully, because the strongest connections don't begin with chasing. They begin with stillness. With awareness. With a sense of knowing that doesn't need explanation. Stay right here, because you're entering a phase where recognition matters more than signs. Consistency matters more than intensity. Peace matters more than excitement. Don't skip this, because peace isn't boring when it's real. It's grounding. It's expansive. It's sustainable. Listen closely, because the letter that stood out to you was never meant to define the connection. It was meant to guide your attention back to yourself, to your intuition, to your readiness. Stay right here, because readiness isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And you're more present now than you realize. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. Whatever meets you from this place will recognize your steadiness, not test it. It will feel mutual, not uncertain. It will feel clear, not confusing. Listen carefully, because you're no longer searching. You're noticing. And noticing changes everything. And if this resonated with you, take a moment to like this, share it with someone who trusts intuitive awareness, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And stay till the end of this journey, because when recognition replaces chasing, the connection that follows is often the one that lasts. Don't scroll, stay right here, because this is the point where recognition turns into quiet certainty, and what once felt like a gentle nudge now becomes something you can't unfeel. After awareness settles in, after you stop actively thinking about the letter and start simply living, something shifts beneath the surface. You realize you're not waiting anymore. You're present. And presence changes how everything unfolds around you. You're no longer scanning your life for signs or clues. You're noticing how your energy feels in different spaces, with different people, in different conversations. And one pattern keeps repeating itself without effort. Listen carefully, because the connection tied to this letter doesn't demand your attention loudly. It shows up in subtle alignment. In the way conversations flow without strain. In the way silence doesn't feel awkward. In the way you don't feel the need to explain yourself or perform a version of who you think you should be. This is how real recognition feels. Calm. Familiar. Grounded. Stay right here, because you may notice that your emotional reactions are no longer extreme. You're not over-investing in possibilities. You're not dismissing feelings either. You're allowing things to be what they are without rushing them into definitions. That balance is new for you. It didn't come from detachment. It came from growth. Don't skip this, because growth changes what attracts you. You're no longer drawn to intensity that comes from uncertainty. You're drawn to steadiness. To people who show up consistently. To energy that feels clear instead of chaotic. And the letter you felt earlier continues to align with this new standard, not by force, but by resonance. Listen closely, because resonance doesn't need confirmation. It's felt in your body before your mind gets involved. It feels like ease in your chest. Like your breath naturally slowing down. Like you don't need to guard yourself. That's the kind of recognition that lasts, because it's rooted in safety, not adrenaline. Stay right here, because something else is happening now. You're becoming less interested in explaining your intuition to others. You don't need permission to trust what you feel. You don't need validation to honor your inner knowing. That confidence isn't loud. It's steady. And it's changing how you move through your days. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may find yourself letting go of old narratives about love. The idea that love has to be hard. That it has to hurt to be meaningful. That confusion equals chemistry. Those stories are loosening their grip. You're rewriting what connection means to you. Listen carefully, because the connection associated with this letter doesn't trigger old wounds. It doesn't activate fear or insecurity. It doesn't make you question your worth. Instead, it invites you to be present, to be honest, to be yourself without shrinking. That's how you know it's aligned. Stay right here, because alignment also brings patience. Not the kind that waits passively, but the kind that trusts the unfolding. You're not asking when things will happen anymore. You're asking how you want to feel as things happen. That shift changes everything. Don't skip this part, because patience allows clarity to emerge naturally. You're seeing people more clearly now. You're noticing who respects your boundaries and who tests them. Who listens and who only waits to speak. Who feels mutual and who feels draining. That awareness is protecting you. Listen closely, because protection doesn't mean closing your heart. It means honoring it. You're open without being exposed. Available without being depleted. Curious without being attached. That's emotional maturity in action. Stay right here, because the letter that once felt significant now feels integrated. It's no longer something you're consciously focusing on. It's something that quietly informs your awareness. You don't chase it. You don't question it. You simply notice how things feel when it appears in your life. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may realize that you're no longer afraid of missing out. You trust that what's meant for you will meet you where you are. You're not worried about timing the way you used to be. You're grounded in the present. Listen carefully, because grounding changes how opportunities show up. When you're grounded, you don't miss what matters. You recognize it. You respond instead of reacting. You choose instead of chasing. Stay right here, because this phase is about embodiment. You're living the awareness instead of analyzing it. You're showing up with clarity instead of curiosity alone. You're allowing connection to unfold without controlling it. Don't skip this, because control used to feel like safety for you. Now, trust does. And trust feels lighter. It doesn't tighten your chest. It doesn't rush your decisions. It allows space for things to grow organically. Listen closely, because you're also noticing how your inner world feels more peaceful. You're not replaying conversations endlessly. You're not doubting your choices. You're not trying to read between lines that don't need decoding. That peace is a sign you're aligned. Stay right here, because aligned connections don't require effort to sustain. They flow. They adjust naturally. They feel reciprocal. And reciprocity matters to you now more than intensity ever did. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may feel moments of joy returning in unexpected ways. Simple joy. Quiet joy. The kind that doesn't need a reason. That's what happens when you stop resisting the present. Listen carefully, because the message now is about trust in yourself. Trust that you'll recognize love when it appears. Trust that you won't ignore red flags out of hope. Trust that you won't abandon your needs to be chosen. That trust has been built through everything you've experienced. Stay right here, because you're also learning to let people reveal themselves without filling in gaps for them. You're observing actions instead of projecting intentions. That clarity keeps you grounded. Don't skip this part, because clarity is the foundation of healthy love. Without clarity, connection becomes confusing. With clarity, it becomes sustainable. Listen closely, because the soulmate energy connected to this letter isn't something you need to figure out today. It's something that will reveal itself through consistency over time. Through presence. Through mutual effort. Stay right here, because you're no longer rushing toward an outcome. You're allowing alignment to guide you. And alignment always leads to what's real. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not missing anything meant for you. You're exactly where recognition can meet you without resistance. Listen carefully, because recognition doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives with a sense of peace. A feeling of, this makes sense. Stay right here, because this stage isn't about answers. It's about readiness. Readiness to receive without fear. Readiness to choose without hesitation. Readiness to trust what feels right. Don't skip this, because readiness is what attracts aligned connection. Not effort. Not chasing. Readiness. Listen closely, because whatever unfolds next will meet you at the level of clarity you're living now. It won't ask you to be smaller. It won't ask you to be confused. It will ask you to be present. Stay right here, because presence is your greatest magnet now. And if this resonated with you, take a moment to like this, share it with someone who understands intuitive recognition, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And stay till the end of this journey, because when awareness turns into embodiment, the connection that follows is no longer a question, it's a recognition. Don't scroll, stay right here, because this is the stage where recognition settles into your bones and begins guiding your choices without you even realizing it's happening. What once felt like curiosity has now become familiarity. You're not thinking about it all the time, yet it's influencing how you move, how you respond, how you decide. That's how you know it's real. Real alignment doesn't demand attention. It quietly shapes behavior. You're noticing that you're no longer pulled toward situations that once drained you. You don't feel tempted to chase uncertainty. You don't feel the need to prove anything. Something inside you has stabilized, and that stability is changing everything. Listen carefully, because your emotional center feels different now. You're not swinging between excitement and doubt. You're not reading into every interaction. You're calm. Not numb, not detached, but calm in a way that feels grounded. This calm isn't accidental. It's the result of trust finally taking root. Trust in yourself. Trust in timing. Trust that what's meant to align with you will do so without force. Stay right here, because as this trust grows, your intuition becomes clearer. Not louder, clearer. You can sense when something is off without overanalyzing it. You can feel when something is right without needing reassurance. That clarity is becoming your compass now. And it's guiding you away from confusion and toward consistency. Don't skip this part, because consistency matters to you more than ever before. You're realizing that intensity without stability is exhausting. That emotional highs followed by uncertainty aren't passion, they're imbalance. And you're no longer interested in imbalance. You're choosing peace, even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Listen closely, because peace doesn't mean the absence of feeling. It means the absence of chaos. You still feel deeply. You still care. But your emotions don't hijack you anymore. They inform you. That's a powerful shift. It means you're responding to life instead of reacting to it. Stay right here, because this phase also brings a different kind of confidence. Not confidence that everything will work out exactly as you imagine, but confidence that you'll be okay regardless of how things unfold. That confidence makes you less attached to outcomes and more committed to alignment. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may notice that you're speaking differently now. More honestly. More directly. Without over-explaining. Without apologizing for your needs. You're not trying to convince anyone anymore. You're expressing yourself and letting others respond as they will. Listen carefully, because this honesty isn't confrontational. It's calm. It doesn't come from frustration. It comes from self-respect. And self-respect changes how others interact with you. Some will step up. Some will step away. Both outcomes serve your alignment. Stay right here, because you're also learning to let silence exist without filling it with meaning. Silence no longer feels threatening. It feels neutral. Sometimes even peaceful. You're no longer rushing to interpret it. You're allowing space for things to reveal themselves naturally. Don't skip this, because space is where truth shows up. When you stop controlling the narrative, reality speaks clearly. And you're finally comfortable enough with yourself to listen. Listen closely, because the energy connected to this recognition is not trying to rush you into action. It's grounding you in readiness. Readiness doesn't look like impatience. It looks like steadiness. It looks like knowing you're open, but not desperate. Interested, but not attached. Stay right here, because you may notice that your standards have shifted quietly. You're less impressed by charm. Less swayed by words. More attentive to behavior. More aware of how people make you feel over time, not just in moments. That awareness is protecting you. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You're no longer willing to rationalize inconsistency. You're no longer excusing mixed signals. Not because you're rigid, but because you're clear. And clarity doesn't negotiate with confusion. Listen carefully, because this clarity is also reflected in how you treat yourself. You're resting more when you need to. You're not pushing yourself to be productive to feel worthy. You're allowing yourself to be human. That gentleness toward yourself is changing your energy. Stay right here, because gentleness is strength when it's paired with boundaries. You're not hardening. You're softening in the right places and strengthening in others. That balance is rare, and it's making you magnetic in a quiet way. Don't skip this part, because magnetism doesn't come from trying to attract. It comes from being aligned. People are drawn to steadiness. They feel safe around it. They trust it. And trust is the foundation of real connection. Listen closely, because you're also becoming more comfortable with the unknown. You're not demanding answers before you take steps. You're trusting the process as it unfolds. That trust doesn't come from blind faith. It comes from lived experience. From seeing that when you honor yourself, things eventually align. Stay right here, because this phase is about embodiment. You're no longer thinking about what alignment means. You're living it. In your choices. In your boundaries. In how you spend your time and energy. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You may notice moments of joy surfacing unexpectedly. Simple joy. Quiet joy. Moments where you feel content without needing anything to change. That's not complacency. That's wholeness. Listen carefully, because wholeness changes how love meets you. When you're whole, you don't look to love to complete you. You invite it to walk beside you. That creates healthy connection instead of dependency. Stay right here, because you're also noticing that you don't feel the urge to rush into definitions. You're allowing things to unfold organically. You're letting actions speak louder than assumptions. That patience is wisdom. Don't skip this, because wisdom doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting yourself enough to navigate uncertainty without losing your center. Listen closely, because the recognition that started this journey is now fully integrated. It's not something you're actively focusing on anymore. It's something that's informing how you live. And that's exactly how it's meant to be. Stay right here, because you're not meant to chase love. You're meant to recognize it when it appears. And recognition comes easily when you're aligned with yourself. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now. You're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're choosing how you show up. You're choosing what you allow. You're choosing what feels right. Listen carefully, because what's meant for you will meet you at this level of clarity. It won't require guessing. It won't require chasing. It won't require you to abandon yourself. Stay right here, because this stage isn't the end. It's the foundation. The solid ground beneath everything that's coming next. And if this resonated with you, take a moment to like this, share it with someone who believes in intuitive alignment, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And stay till the end of this journey, because when recognition becomes embodiment, the connection that follows isn't confusing, it's real.